Doomsday is one of my favorite vintage combo decks and one of my best, but the field is looking very hostile to it right now. I'm going to take it through a vintage challenge and see just how bad it is. Welcome back, vintage gamers, to a Friday evening challenge. Tonight we are testing for Eternal Weekend with one of my favorite decks in the format in terms of play and power. This is Doomsday. This is a deck I've registered at the last paper vintage tournament I played in, and a deck I have concerns about moving in towards Eternal Weekend in paper. The reason I have concerns is because I think Doomsday is extremely the best choice against every deck in the format that's not Lurrus. This is the strongest deck in the field versus non-Lurrus decks. You have one of the best matchups in all of Vintage, which is Doomsday versus Jewel. You have two extremely favored matchups in Doomsday versus Dredge and Doomsday versus Oath. You're going to be pretty okay against other shops decks. And those aren't great matchups, but they're very playable. The bug matchup is pretty close, but I would say maybe a little slightly Doomsday sided. Your initiative matchup is good, slightly favored. So I really like Doomsday against a lot of decks in Vintage. However, Doomsday's matchup against Lurrus, both Blue, Black, and Esper, is not good. It's not pretty. It's very much unfavored. And tonight we're going to try some things that maybe can help us make it more favored, or less unfavored, I should say. But I unless there's something drastic that I'm missing, like maybe splashing white from Monastery Mentor into Fairy or some kind of drastic change. These things feel like not enough. So what I'm doing is in my flex slots today, I'm trying an additional Thoughtseize in the main. And then in the board, I have a Duress and I have some Murktide Regents. Murktide Regents appeared as a 3 of in a recent Bryant Cook list. I think Murktide Regent as a sideboard plan against Blue-Black can make a lot of sense. Blue-Black's removal suite doesn't really match up against Murktide Regent. However, Esper's removal suite with Swords to Plowshares, which are probably coming in case like you bring in Lavinia or not Lavinia, Shieldred or something like that from the side, make me question if Murktide as an additional threat base makes any sense. But yeah, so it's a pretty straightforward Doomsday list. I typically choose not to play Negation because I don't like how Negation plays with your proactive game plan. I like to play one Chain of Vapor because it's a blue spell that can get you out of sticky situations against mono white initiative, especially Archon of Emeria. It's very hard to play through an Archon of Emeria as Doomsday. So having this kind of versatile bounce spell in the main has been pretty beneficial. I'm not playing a Mystical Tutor, but I am keeping Vampiric Tutor. I think Vampiric Tutor is very important at finding sideboard cards in certain matchups, and I would really... I understand cutting top deck tutors is probably going to help your Lurrus matchup, but I think the Vampiric Tutor is important for your non-Lurrus matchups. And it's one of the reasons why your non-Lurrus matchups are so good. I am still playing the 1 Daze in the flex slot. Don't know about that one. And then I'm playing only 2 Flusterstorms. In the sideboard, I have extra counter magic with Flusterstorm, Negation, and Trap for the Mirror and for Jewel. The Murktide Regents, as I said, as like a pivot plan in certain matchups. I'm sure you could bring this in against shops maybe too. Being able to play Leyline and 1 Tabernacle is just assurance against the Dredge matchup. It really makes your Dredge matchup very favored. You can get away with not playing the Leylines and Tabernacle, but then you actually start getting like too many sideboard cards to bring in problems. The mapping goes a lot better when you have these cards, and so does the Dredge matchup. The first Null Rod is just super strong against Jewel because it's tutorable by your Vampiric and Demonic, and it's just going to be always going to be really strong. It's going to give you like an extreme number of percentage points here. I don't know what an extreme number actually quantifies to, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's a couple, 4 or 5 percentage points in the matchup. Like the first Null Rod is very good. And then, like I said, I'm going to try Duress has an additional way to try to maybe fight through some of the counter magic of the other blue decks. A bunch of Fatal Pushes are kind of necessary right now for the amount of creatures that are in the format. These are not going to hurt you as much as like a Dismember would when you want to maybe kill a Psychic Frog or a Lavinia or a Bowmaster. Dismember, I find sometimes is a better matchup against the field where it's going to hit like initiative creatures and those things more consistently. You're not going to have to fetch to kill an Archon of Emeria. But I think, Initiative's on kind of a downward trend, and we're really trying to look towards making our deck better versus Lurrus. So, 6-round small vintage challenge tonight, and we'll see if we can get any good data from a nice little testing session. I'll see you in round 1. Okay, here we go. Round 1, vintage challenge. We're up against Lurrus, our toughest matchup. Let's see what we can do. Don't see any reason to mulligan this. It's probably just an Oracle console game. Jesus. I don't think you're supposed to let that resolve. Also, it's actually really good for us if they, not if they daze me. So I'm gonna say it's really good for me if they force back. Magic is pain. This looks like, but doesn't this look impossible? Like, isn't this just a game where we have to jam and hope it resolves and we have no recourse besides that? Like, it's just. I can't even fetch right now because I don't want to get wastelanded. That's a really good draw, but I'm not gonna have the mana for it because of the Lavinia. But I'm not really gonna wait, right? If I had a 4th land, I could theoretically wait. Because it kind of depends on what they do this turn. Brainstorm. I just want to fluster it. I just like basic island fluster it. Like maybe they just don't have it. I really just like the D's in this deck, but never really playing around it either, so. Just buy Lurrus. That's good for me. 2 cards in hand. I mean, they have to have nothing, but it feels like a highest percentage chance of me winning at any point in this game, so. Nope. Negation, pitching, dig. There's really no follow-up opportunity either. I feel like it has to be Ancestral, not Ponder. But I guess Ponder can find Ancestral. I just don't have enough time. My opponent had turn 1 Lavinia with Daze backup. That's gotta be illegal. No, it's not illegal. You know what it is, chat? It's against the spirit of the format. This is against the spirit of the format. I'm a Moxen vintage deck, and this is countering Moxen. I don't know how we can justify this being legal. All right, game 2. No, it's illegal. It's against the spirit of the format. Are you even supposed to bring in Murktide if they're Esper and they're just gonna have swords anyways? I mean, we're never gonna have enough cards to board out for this, are we? There's still not enough cards to board out. I mean, this feels like too many fatal pushes too, but I don't like this idea. But we're here to test this idea, so. If I can't make the Doomsday matchup versus Lurrus, like, keepable, it just feels really hard to register it for Eternal Weekend. Long goodbye? Huh? Like, Wasteland Saga Negation Days Bowmaster. Guess I can't go for Undercity Sewers. I want to go for Undercity Sewers. But getting Wasteland is way too bad, isn't it? With no cantrips in hand. Can I afford to go basic island? Probably. Huh? That's a dark ritual. Negation days. If I Flusterstorm, I get dazed. If he draws a blue card. Trying to figure out if I want to like keep a second Doomsday. But if I get countered, I just lose, don't I? Like I have to fetch away no matter what. Yo, thanks for the raid, Beerus. Hope you had a good stream. Saga Gaming. Holds open negation, Bowmaster, and Hardcast days. I feel like there's just like no chance we're ever comboing through this spot, right? Maybe if we draw a land. I guess we have to draw a land. Maybe like these fatal pushes are. I mean, they're definitely worse than a daze here. Definitely worse than a dark ritual here. Definitely worse than a preordain here. See, I'm not just like. I know that frog is a problem, and even Bowmaster is a small problem, but isn't this just overboarding? Is this enough of a rebound card? This might be enough of a rebound card, right? We go Dark Ritual Doomsday, they negate it. We Flusterstorm it, they daze it. We Street Wraith after. I guess maybe they Bowmaster. We have push. But if I hit a land, do I win? If I have a land, I am daze proof. Not daze proof, because I still have to gush after. I feel like I just need to find a land. I did not find a land. So now I'm just dead though, right? Isn't this a terrible spot? Because I can't pass. I just get wastelanded. Like if I find a land, then I have Flusterstorm for negation, can pay for days, and then I can go Street Wraith into Gush, Gush into Lotus Ancestral or whatever. Sorry, Street Wraith into Gush, Gush into something else. Win with Oracle. So I feel like bottoming that made sense, giving us the out to play for. But now we don't really have... Like, we're just going to get ruined by Wasteland. Just absolutely ruined by Wasteland. Did they pitch Days? Oh, they pitched Days. Okay. That means we have a shot. I mean, Bowmaster is not enough here, right? Oh, they just drew another Force blue card. They had drawn their 3 draws that we didn't know about were Force, Negation. Yeah, Force and Negation were the 2 draws we didn't know about. So now I get Bowmastered and Wastelanded. If I Street Wraith now, I take an extra damage, an extra thing, but I can hit a land drop. I don't have a Daze in my deck, so I can't draw into Daze. I can draw into Force. So if I go to 14 and then I go to 13, yeah, I mean, I could get a Force. I mean, I kind of needed my opponent to draw like land, psychic frog, something. Not force. Force was bad for me. I drew Force. So I go to 12, I go to 6, I go to 3. I have a Fatal Push, but I can't. It's actually not going to be enough. I don't think. I think it's just enough life that I lose. Because this puts me to 5 to 2. I get Wastelanded, and I can't. If I didn't get Wastelanded here, then I think we actually had a shot. Because if I put an Underground Sea and I Wasteland... Hold on. If I take 6 here and I go to 5 and I go to 2, and then I play an Underground Sea and I Wasteland the I Fatal Push the token, and then on the next turn I go for Ancestral. I guess that might work. So if my top card is Underground Sea, and then my next card is Ancestral down to draw to 4, draw to 3, Ancestral into Lotus and Oracle and something. I don't know, another land maybe. Something like that. I go to 5, I go to 2, I Fatal Push, I go to 1, I untap, I Ancestral. Yeah, I mean, that seems like a play we can try. It's been so long. Put them on top. So bottom card, C, Lotus, Oracle, Ancestral, C. Go. Because Wasteland will prevent them from being able to use their Saga. We have a Vexing Bauble. We can beat a Vexing Bauble here. Pearl. By Lurrus. Play Lavinia. Oh, no, man. Oh, their last card is Long Goodbye. So sad. Or does the land do it here? No, the land doesn't do it here, right? Because I can Fatal Push. The Lavinia actually just beats me off the top. This is so frustrating. I actually think I made a really good pile. But I'm at 1. Wow. I Fatal Push this. My Ancestral, I die. I mean, my opponent drew an exact card that beat us here. Unfortunate. But I think our pile was good. We made the most of a very, very hard game. We didn't win, but the matchup is so hard. All right, I'll go out swinging. Could I have done anything different on this pile instead of a Lotus? No, because I always need to make 2 mana. And I do want to win the game on the same turn. What if I had gone Gush? Gush also gets beat by Lavinia, so that wouldn't have changed anything. Was Gush better than Ancestral here? Okay. No, I don't think so. Because if I want to win on the turn, it needs to be Fatal Push, Draw Spell. I mean, Gush might be better than Ancestral because it doesn't play into... I mean, Fatal Push gets Mental Misstep anyways, so that's not a factor. Thought it was a good pile. Maybe... So, I mean, the 2 Fatal Pushes ended up being good. But yeah, this is like a prime display of why I'm worried about this deck in terms of being a choice for Eternal Weekend. If you you're really good against the rest of the field, don't get me wrong. You're like extremely good against Oath, extremely good against Dredge, extremely good against Jewel, good against Mono White. You're good against basically the rest of Vintage. You don't really have other bad matchups, but your Lurrus matchup is so bad that it might just not be playable. Because you can't really dodge your Lurrus matchup for 12 rounds or 10 rounds or however many rounds. 10 rounds, I assume. All right, on to round 2 Vintage Challenge. We're up against the Doomsday expert, Subasa Cat, Kevin. If you haven't checked out his guide, definitely do that on his Twitter. I'm going to keep this hand. Don't know if it'll be a Doomsday Mirror. I know he's been trying other decks recently. Breach. Looks like it'll be Breach then. Breach is a tough matchup for Doomsday, is what I've been told. I haven't actually played this Tinker Breach matchup in a while, but very high value Mental Misstep target. Turns them off of being able to Tinker pretty early in the game. I don't expect to be Wastelanded here. So I'm going to fetch an Underground Sea and cast a Ponder. Demonic Tutor Doomsday. I mean, this could be draw a land, get a Demonic Tutor for a Force, and then go for an Oracle with Oracle Consult with Daze plus Force. I guess we would still need to hit a land, but I could always draw the Doomsday if I wanted to go Demonic Tutor Lotus Doomsday. I don't think I want to do that. This is a nice combo that doesn't draw into Hull Breach or anything. It doesn't lose to like Brain Freeze or anything. So it really makes sense to focus on this. Interesting. No land drop. This was a Shuffle, Ponder, and Miss. Okay. Okay, I like Demonic for a Force. And then Street Wraith plus land off the top are what we're looking for. I guess they don't play Flusterstorm, right? It's just Pyroblast. I just want to play around the fact that my opponent could have maybe hit land Hull Breacher and just do a cycle now. I didn't want to cycle into the Doomsday, but I really just want to cycle into a fetch land. That being said, like obviously my opponent just like could play Flusterstorm. Okay, another blue card. So if we miss on a land next turn, we still have Ponder. See if opponent misses on a land. But I definitely like Oracle Console, especially against Breach, just because of how good Brain Freeze is against Doomsday piles. They're passing. Okay. Dark Ritual. Doesn't really help me. Just cast a Ponder. All right. This is really strong. We have a Flusterstorm and a Fetch and a Probe. So let's go Probe, Fetch. So let's Probe and see what they were working with here. We might not want Flusterstorm, to be fair. Oh, are we just getting our Probe Pyroed? That's super fine. Yeah. All right, so we'll just draw the fetch land next turn, and we'll go then. We still have Force Daze. Ooh. Okay. Guess Daze is not going to actually be online here because they drew a Mana Crypt and not a Moxen. Is there any alternative choices I have here? I mean, I could theoretically wait longer, but then I'm just drawing Flusterstorm, and I'm not really getting further. I guess I can theoretically just dig on the end of turn. This feels like a good spot to jam, though. I guess I get... There are definitely ways this goes bad. Even if it goes bad, like I guess I don't have a follow-up, right? Well, if I pitch the Daze, I have Dig Through Time follow-up. So I just do that instead. So this is fine. Might just get Pyroblasted if that's all Kevin has. All right. I guess there could be technically be Ancestral too. Force pitching, Twister. Okay. Force pitching Daze. Second Pyro. Wow. Okay. Wait, what? Just trying to get me? Okay. I'm not missing something here, right? Like I have 0 cards, so even if you Pyroblast, it's still winning. Just wanted to see my deck. Fair. Just pump faking. I mean, just trying to create content. Respect. Giving me the opportunity to get a little mad. All right, Duress seems pretty good here. Murktide seems terrible. So this is another matchup where like Murktide is not helping at all. Murktide's going to get Pyroblasted. I like the idea of Trap, Negation, and Fluster, though. I don't like the idea of Fatal Push much. Fatal Push, obviously, is an answer to Hull Breacher, but is that really the game we want to be playing here? We have a Chain of Vapor, though. Chain of Vapor is a little sus against Hull Breacher. We probably want a single Fatal Push in our deck, though, that we can tutor for. Don't need an island here. Probably okay with taking out Vamp here. Maybe we want to trim on different cantrip engines. It's possible. Necro seems fine, though. Maybe just do a Pawn Preordains. What else would we do? Sure. Well, the thing is, they're never taking out Pyroblast, so I think it just doesn't make sense. I guess maybe there's like a Dark Ritual we could cut here. That might be better than a Ponder. But just like having my threat be a blue creature that gets Pyroblasted, it just does not seem correct. But maybe a Dark Ritual would have been worse, better off as a preordain here. Could see that. It's not like they have a ton of controlling elements, though. If we can like sneak a fast combo, it's still good. Topping with an Undercity Sewers, turn 1. Dark Ritual, Doomsday, fetch land, preordain. Just gonna go preordain, looking for a Doomsday, probe, ponder. Yeah, we probably want both of these. And I'm willing to look and see what my opponent's working with here. The value there is high, and we have a Street Wraith anyways. Pyro, Breach, Ancestral, Dig Through Time. Exciting. So they're going to resolve an Ancestral. Needed a Mental Misstep or a Flusterstorm or something. Flusterstorm would be pretty good. Oh, this is still a winnable game. Okay, going for it now. Interesting. Not sure I'd go right away there. Like, it's still pretty bad into Fluster. So this is technically a kill, if I'm looking at this correctly. Fetch, Ritual, 3/5, Demonic, Doomsday, Street Wraith, Ancestral, force a Pyroblast, Lotus kill. Sure. They have to have drawn off their Ancestral force. Okay. I'll give it a shot. Yeah, I mean there are other cards. Don't get me wrong. Doesn't get much better from here though. So, like they can draw lands, they can draw tons of things that are not good here. They drew force. Pitching dig. Yep. Okay. No, don't have to fight. Doesn't help us to fight. Oh, maybe I'm supposed to just street right there looking for a mental misstep. Yeah, that's probably true. Probably was supposed to street right though. Yeah, they have double pyro known information. What I'm just throwing away my force Oracle. Like we can still win this game with Oracle Console. Just feels like throwing the game away for no reason. I should probably have Street Wraith though. After the force one on the stack, I should have Street Wraith. Yeah, I mean it would have. So then I would have Wraith flustered. Maybe I could pass the turn pile. I'm not even sure I passed the turn pile winning it. I mean, I should have Wraith. Like, no one's saying I shouldn't have Wraith. I was talking about fighting and I didn't Wraith. But I mean, if I draw a consult, like I'm still at large to win this game. That was the thing I was mostly thinking about. But yeah, so here if we had Wraith, we would have had a mana floating, yes. So we could have Flusterstormed, Force Flustered, and made a Doomsday pile passing the turn versus second Pyroblast, which means our pile, we would have had to pitch Oracle. Wait, would we have had, we could have pitched Ponder, right? So we could have kept Oracle. So our pile would have been Wraith, Oracle, something like a bunch of Wraiths into an Oracle, maybe. There's no Cavern of Souls in Vintage. So it has to be like a either get a counterspell with your Oracle or just have 2 Oracles, which is probably the way you would have to go about it. Even a Doomsday right now isn't even that bad. It's a little late now though, because like at some point they're just going to breach flashback here. Yeah, so there's opposition agent in this deck too. It's a classic Kevin board for Doomsday. I mean, I don't think we're winning the game with a Doomsday from here, so I'm gonna just let this resolve and play towards consults. Right. That's what I'm saying. So the pile has to probably be like triple Street Wraith second Oracle. So you Street Wraith all the way down and then get your first Oracle countered and then get your second Oracle countered or something, or then try to resolve your second Oracle. But then you lose to Breach Ancestral. So I don't actually think that's a winning line either. So then your pile has to be like Ancestral on their turn. Hope they counter the Ancestral on their turn. Untap, have a second draw spell into something, maybe. There's something like that. Chain of Vapor. I mean, you have to get creative and try to bait your opponent into using a pyro. But there's some things that could have happened for sure. I mean, it was just missed opportunity. Was trying to talk to chat and I just didn't Street Wraith. Happens. My opponent still has Breach Pyroblast in hand. And we're not beating either of those magic cards. So the fact that my opponent has Opposition Agent in addition to all of these things that are already beating us in the deck is quite interesting. There aren't really other decks in Vintage where Opposition Agent is good now, right? With all the sagas gone. Don't really understand. I guess the Mirror? Is it that good in the Mirror? It's definitely okay in the Mirror. Tinker, DT, Vamp, Mystical, Fetch. Yeah, I guess. Seems okay. Oh, waterlogged teachings. True. Counter all the waterlogged teaching gamers. Got them. Yeah, no, okay, I buy it. This has been a pretty popular deck recently, so that vibes. I wonder if I should really be playing this game out anymore. Just save my energy. Gosh. So is it better to gush on Undercity Sewers back here? Probably blue-black. It's gonna be time for the whole Reacher. This should just get pyroed, right? So we can't Doomsday because I guess we could bounce the Opposition Agent Doomsday and then actually that might work. Is that winning? So I go Underground Sea, Doomsday. No, I don't have a cantrip after, right? Oh no, I do have a cantrip after. So Underground Sea, Doomsday. If they like, don't have another counter, this just seems good. And we have a force. This might just be winning. They have only one unknown card. They know some of their top of the library. We have a chance here. I guess they can pyro the chain, but then they can't replay the opposition agent anyways. But then they can like spin into a fluster or a pyro or something. No pyro, just fluster. Spin into a force for a second blue card in hand. Just bounce back to hand. Doomsday. Chain, which resolves. I mean, maybe their third card is just brain freeze. I don't know if it matters much for us. I'm pretty sure our only line is Ponder into Gush, Oracle. I guess, yeah, because all we're doing is forcing anyways. Gush, down, Gush, second Oracle. I guess we already have an Oracle, so... Is there... but we probably have to force using our thing. So it's just second Oracle. And then if this doesn't work, do we have a legitimate backup plan? Don't feel like we do. But like waiting does not seem good here. Forcing the issue seems like the only thing that makes sense. Ponder, Gush, Lotus, second Oracle, first force on the Pyro. The problem is if I have to pass, they just play a new thing. So I can't even like Doomsday again. Like if I, if you rebuild your pile with a Doomsday again, doesn't really seem possible to do that. I'm not seeing a way to put redundancy here. Unless we were to wait. But I don't see a waiting line that looks good, especially against Breach with an Ancestral in the yard. Yeah, waiting is bad. Waiting is bad. So Ponder, Gush, Lotus. I actually don't think it's a question we need to answer. I actually think no matter what, if we pass the turn, we're losing. So we should just go for the win. So I actually don't think it's a thing we have to, because we don't have leeway. This is our only draw spell. And once we draw, our only draw spell is Gush. And the only thing we can gush into is Lotus Oracle because we have our second Oracle in force here. So I actually don't think it matters. What I'll do is I'll put like some cards to throw my opponent off. I'm going to put a Mental Misstep in the bottom of the pile. And I'm going to put not a Fluster. That'll never be there. A Daze. Do I have a Daze? I don't have a Daze. Negation, Fluster. Fluster's no good. So maybe a Force of Will. I'm going to put a Mental Misstep and a Force of Will at the bottom of the pile. Done. Like normally I agree with you. You would want to ask yourself why would opponent let the chain resolve? What kind of combination of hands or cards could they have in their hand? We know that they have a Pyroblast Breach, they have one unknown card, they have a top they can spin and draw into. So like those things are all very important. If we had any kind of leeway whatsoever, which I don't believe we have any leeway. I think our pile, our first three cards in our pile are locked. Because if we pass the turn, I don't believe we have a chance to win the game with Breach, Pyroblast, being the cards in my opponent's hand. So if I rule that at 0, then I don't think it matters. Looks like they're going to try to spin and have force pyro, which we're not beating, so. Oh. Ah, I mean, sure. We're also not beating that. If I had a Lotus in my hand, I could force my own Ponder, and then that wouldn't matter, but... Okay, that's fine. I think we presented ourselves with the best chance of winning in that game. And honestly, we came pretty close. If they didn't have a freeze on top and they had, you know, some other garbage on top, there was a chance we just won that game straight up from that draw, so pretty good. Do I want to put Daze back in on the play? I really don't like Daze here. They have so many mocks in so often. I'm just going to resubmit with this. The Seas, Fluster, Demonic, Doomsday, Oracle. Yeah? Yeah. I like the idea of starting with a Seas and then we can evaluate how we want to approach this, because we can do things like DT for console and go for Oracle console and then have backup Doomsday. We have a couple different choices here, but just, I guess if they have mental misstep, would I Flusterstorm a mental misstep on my Thoughtseize? Maybe. Might as well give myself the opportunity. I guess they could even force the Thoughtseize if there was something super important. So this should play it. Okay. Force trap. Well, now I can't fluster. now I cannot fluster this turn, because that would be my third spell. Force trap op ponder. I mean, this just should be a force take, fluster the ponder, and then look for like a demonic Oracle console kill, depending on what I draw. I mean, I'm just gonna fluster the ponder. Like I kind of want them to crack and not necessarily, but I don't want them to hit lands. It's the big one. And force is the hardest card for me to play through. Like I can play through a known Mindbreak Trap, known Pyroblast. Yeah. Okay. If we draw a land next turn, I'm pretty excited for our spot. They're just not going to ponder. They're going to straight up hold Pyroblast up. Interesting. Land is Dark Ritual. It feels real hard to play through Trap Pyro for a Doomsday here. I mean, if I craft something real spicy, maybe. If I go triple, if I go quad street rate, no. If I go double, triple street wraith, no, double, yeah, triple street wraith, land into Oracle Fluster. Oracle and Fluster are 1 and 2 spells. It's kind of an interesting proposition. It's very all in a game where I'm not super down, but I also just can't really go for like consult here. Is there like a very stellar demonic I can go? Doesn't feel like there's a stellar demonic I can go. Is there any way to use our demonic in our Oracle pile? Not really. And then I can make the last card another Oracle. I'm in. I guess if they drew a counterspell here, then it gets annoying because I can't. I mean, it's fine. I just lose my demonic or I lose my Dark Ritual Doomsday. I don't think that's actually a big deal. $17. Take not take 8, 16, 8, 9. Go to 9. Street Wraith down to 3. Yeah, I'm gonna go Street Wraith, Street Wraith, Street Wraith. Oh, I guess I could go a fetch land instead of a Street Wraith. That would give me. Oh, but then I could get like Mox Opposition Agented. So I'm gonna go 3 Street Wraiths down to 2 cards in my library. Playing Oracle with Flusterstorm. Oh, I guess it only needs 2 Street Wraiths into Oracle into land. I guess like it would technically, yeah, into land. Last card Oracle, second Oracle is last card. Or not, second to last card. So this is my draw for turn is a Street Wraith at 4 cards, Street Wraith 3 cards, Street Wraith 2 cards, Street Wraith 4 cards. 3 cards, Street Wraith the 2 cards. Play an Oracle with Flusterstorm. It gets countered, I untap, and I play another Oracle. So I don't need... Okay. So then what's my last card? Does my last card matter? If this is my plan to not play into Mindbreak Trap. Well, if I went to 0, I mean, they would just Pyroblast on the stack. Is there any upgrade from here? I have a demonic. I don't want to fetch. I guess I could get Strip Mined, but then, yeah. So if I get Strip Mined, then I won't have Flusterstorm for the first Oracle. I'll play that Oracle, get it Pyroblasted, untap, draw another land, and then play Oracle Fluster on the next one. That's at least something we can play around. Sure, let's try that. I'm not going to go too crazy here. I'm going to just see where my intuition takes me. So last card, C. Second to last card, Oracle, C, Wraith, Wraith. I guess this is bad against Mana Crypt Hold Breacher, but... kind of like it. This is not the direction I thought this game would go after seeing the opening hand, but just the card I drew made us change the direction. Oh, if he has an end of turn top deck tutor, what does that mean? Oh no! End of turn ancestral is the one card they drew for turn this game. Okay, I mean I can't Flusterstorm this because Mindbreak Trap, so yeah, sure. The one unknown card they drew this game was Ancestral. Yeah, I mean, that's really bad for me. Oh, the Waterlogged Grave! The Waterlogged Teachings, I should say. This has been a beating, man. We've been getting butt kicked. Discard to hand size. Opposition agent. All right, Wraith. Wraith. Land. Oracle. Pyro. Bluster. Ooh, they didn't draw anything. Let's go. Okay. Big. Oh, okay. I feel really good about that game. I'm not gonna lie to you. I like what we chose to do. Sweet. Welcome to round 3. Possible Dredge opponent. Our hand looks like a keep to me. It's not the best hand versus Dredge, but we're gonna be very careful with our Necro. I guess to be fair, we might lose our Necro. might get griefed here. I guess there's a pretty big question of if my opponent griefs me, am I street wraithing? Oh, they hit no dredgers. That's interesting. That might make this very interesting. Huh. Okay, interesting. A blue card. Right. So is it better to Dark Ritual my Necro? It is, right? Because I'm going to want to draw more cards. We do want to play around a possible Mindbreak Trap. I guess we can't play around. I guess we can play around, kind of play around Mindbreak Trap. All right, Dark Ritual. I assume they have counter magic, but that might not be true. Like Bazaar, you have to keep your hand no matter what it is. So, Force of Negation, Force of Will. Got another one. I mean, what are you gonna do, chat? I mean, I played around Mindbreak Trap on my Necro, but I can't play around Mindbreak Trap on my Force. Does it make sense to cycle Wraith? Not really. I should hold it for... Do I play around second Trap? Probably. I guess in this case I could get griefed. Do people play Mindbreak Trap main in Dredge right now? I wasn't aware. I mean, I brought it up as a possibility, but I don't know people were playing it. 2 Mindbreak Traps in this list. Interesting. Cool. Paid off. I'm sure that makes sense with all the jewel around, right? Icarid, and a grief. No Dredger. Island. I guess maybe I hold the jet for brainstorm. I'm not casting Street Wraith. The Street Wraith is very important to me. God, they might still even have another counter spell. Man, that Mindbreak Trap was brutal. Not even an exclamation mark Mindbreak Trap in chat. Double Czar? And can still have counter magic? Uh-oh. Dredge players are so strong, man. So strong. Flusterstorm. All right, so there's 2 Icarids. I'm at 15. We double activate. Yeah, I mean, I'm willing to wait one more turn here. I'd like my Doomsday to be lethal. I might just die. Let's be real. Going to 4, hit a Dredger, pitch to chill, Dredge. I might die. I'm gonna die actually. 16, 3, 4, 17. I should probably have gone there. That's my fault. That was a misevaluation on how good 2 Bizarres are even with no Dredgers. 3, 4, 11, down to 5. 2 chills, I die. Yeah, I'm so dead. I'm so dead. Okay, fair enough. No chill yet. Still have another activate, so they're going to 16 cards. Hit 2 chills. 12. Okay, I die. All right, if I had drawn a card, what would it get me? Dark Ritual. Okay. There's like very few cards that actually get me there from a Street Wraith draw, which is why I didn't want to use it. That you have to draw like an Ancestral or a Gush, or maybe a Cruise or a Dig from this spot might get me there. So there's a reason I was trying to hold it. That way, like if I find a Doomsday, I can turn it on, but I had to probably go there. Let's do Ley Lines and Tabernacle, and then things out like Island, Thoughtseize, Chain, Necro. I typically don't like in the matchup. Obviously, I kept the hand because it was a powerful hand, but I don't really like Necro in the matchup. Don't really like Misstep in the matchup. Guess there's a lot of cards that are kind of medium here. Daze is good though. I don't believe I'd ever bring in other stuff. This looks close enough. I could theoretically take out... I don't have a negation. I could theoretically take out like Cruise instead of Island in case I feel like I need this island. They could bring in Wastelands for Tabernacle. I don't feel like they bother anyways though. Let's try this. That hand doesn't do it. Need either a fast combo hand or a leyline hand. That is not a turn 1 kill hand. Is it worth keeping on 6? We would need another free draw spell, or any draw spell. We would need a second draw spell for this to be a turn 1 kill. The turn 1 kill being Dark Ritual off of Jet, Doomsday, Ponder into Black Lotus, and then use the second draw spell to draw into an Ancestral into Sapphire Oracle, all in, no counter magic. This hand would have to be a pass the turn pile of some kind. Fares very poorly into Trap if we want to cast Ponder on the same turn. I mean, our random 5s do have ley lines, but they're probably not very good besides that. But even just like a hand with Leyline Force, Ancestral Island, I guess would be the best hand. Because if we want to play around Mindbreak Trap here, we have to go fetch Dark Ritual Doomsday, and then we don't get to cast Ponder. We probably build our pile with Ancestral on top. Hope our opponent doesn't have Wasteland as well. And then Ancestral into Flusterstorm, Lotus, and Oracle. So that makes our pile pretty poor against any counter magic, Chalice, Wasteland, Mindbreak Trap. Mindbreak Trap we are okay against. Actually, we beat Mindbreak Trap with this sequence. Noxious, sure. Yeah, bad against Noxious, true. I'm just like trying to evaluate if that sequence sounds better than a 5-card hand that could have like a ley line maybe. Like our second Doomsday is not uncastable. I'm gonna try it. I don't really have a lot of faith here though. Yeah, all cards are pretty bad against Shere Khan's made up Vintage Horizons cards, considering the cards he made up in there are probably the best cards ever printed. I think I have to go Underground Sea, Dark Ritual, Doomsday. I can't actually go Jet. Like, we already saw main deck Mindbreak Trap, right? And he doesn't go up to 4 Mindbreak Traps. Probably brings in Chalice. But I feel like playing around Mindbreak Trap just makes sense here. If this pauses, okay. Negation, pitching, negation. Okay. Oh, I mean, I told you the pile that I was going to build. I don't think it's amazing, but oh, they pitched vigor, chill. So I'm glad we didn't mulligan. If we mulligan, we would be in deep. So keep here worked out well. No dredger yet, but probably more interaction. Drew a Black Lotus. I see. That's a good magic card. They have another force. Pitching Amalgam. If I get trapped on my Ponder, it's super bad. Okay, I'm gonna pass. I guess if my Jet got trapped, it wouldn't have been bad though. So maybe I should have played the Jet out. They drew for turn first and then activated, going down to 2 cards after. Jet Ritual Doomsday plays directly into Mindbreak Trap, so that's why we chose not to do that. My opponent still has 2 cards and a Shambling Shell. That makes me think they have another force. We've been trying to, in this game, play around Mindbreak Trap as much as possible, but maybe that's actually not what we want to be doing. 1, 2, 3. They get 1 turn of dredging. I wish this had ETB Rest in Peace. Dredge 3 misses. I think they have another piece of interaction, though, so maybe it just doesn't matter. The way they're activating, doesn't it feel like they have another piece of interaction? Activate on my upkeep? They pitched another Bazaar. I mean, whatever. I think... Yeah, Force plus... Force plus Misstep. Holy shit. Okay. Triple Force this game? One Amalgam, one Narcomoeba, one Chill. 7-card Triple Force, double Chill, double Icarid? Off of one Dredge 3? Alright, well, I can draw Ancestral and win the game still, so. Alright, I die. I don't know. That just feels like extreme variance to me. Let me know if you disagree. Okay, here we go. Let's keep. Oh, not Lurrus. They're not Lurrus. They do not have a Lurrus. Okay, what does that mean? Tundra Gaming, but not Lurrus. Is it Esper Tinker? Is it Azorius Initiative Tinker? What kind of Tundra monstrosity have we got this? I have a lot of cantrips here. I'm worried about getting wastelanded. They have 2 wastelands, but I don't think I'm allowed to get a non-underground sea. So let's do Ponder Preordain looking for another land. I don't really like the idea of necroing here. Don't think I want. Do I want a Street Wraith? No, I kind of want to just. I don't think I want a Street Wraith. I believe I just want like a Force, an Ancestral. I mean, if I had a Doomsday, then I'd keep a Street Wraith. I feel like we need a piece of counter magic, and then we need to, in case they are a big wasteland deck, we need to hit more lands. I guess Street Wraith could technically be either of those cards, but if they're like initiative, I don't want a Street Wraith thing. Hard to tell. Don't exactly know what our opponent's playing with no Lurrus plus Tundra. Big blue. Hull Breacher? Tinker. Fucking great. Fantastic. Yep, you got it. Shame on me for not keeping Force. My opponents have been destroying me tonight. My opponents have been making me look like I'm playing the wrong format. Oh, Vamp on top. I'm not crazy, right, chat? Like, people, like, this is the second stream in a row I felt my deck has not been doing the things that my opponent's decks have been doing. Oh, I'm brutal. I'm brutal? Yeah, I'm brutal. That's what it is. They don't even go for Sensei's top? Greedy. I bet they don't even have a top in their deck. I bet it's the True Hero deck. Let me find it. You can't just be registering decks that True Hero plays, man. That dude is so good at the game. He plays nonsense and wins. Hull Breacher, Lavinia, Vampiric. No, there's a top in this deck. So my opponent just did not get a top. Oh, I think I would keep the hand against non-lure. I mean, my hand wasn't bad. I don't think you can just mulligan to force every game. It doesn't feel like. See, they have a top in their deck. They chose to get Time Walk instead of top. No, I saw them swords and misstep it. That's like, these decks are not good at tinker things. I don't think this game is over by any means. If they just simply miss out on force, like, there's gameplay here. Those cards are awful. Of course, my force is completely dead. Man. I don't know. If I was my opponent, I would have vamped for a top and then drawn 10 cards or something, and that's what I would have done, but I guess I cannot Dark Ritual for Necropotence, so I should not do that. Classic Lavinia action. Street Wraith, second Oracle. I just want... I can't Treasure Cruise either. I just look up... Okay, not bad. I mean, at some point, they're going to play a Hull Breacher. Lavinia isn't even symmetrical like Vexing Bauble. Lavinia is just straight up better than Vexing Bauble, chat. I swear this card looks a little bit against the spirit of the format. Just saying. There were actually a ton of people really mad about Lavinia's printing back when it was printed. Boomers hated that card. Boomers wanted that card gone immediately. It turned out just to be fine, but Boomers did not like Lavinia when it was printed. I should get a Spirit of the Format emote, huh? Should I get Nyx to draw one for me? Just like a little fly-y, ghosty thing. I am Max Spirit of the Format. Yeah, Nyx is really busy, but maybe we'll get Nyx to draw one for me at some point. Make it our anniversary present. Wait, that's only a present for me. I get her a present. Didn't think about this. Now my opponent's drawing with Sensei's top. Maybe they had like a force on top or something. Oh, well, I guess I'm not drawing anymore. What if I just draw a console and they don't have force, chat? Did you consider that? Maybe I draw Street Wraith and I go Dark Ritual Street Wraith. Would that not be gaming? Wait, I bottomed Street Wraith. I'm an idiot. My bad. I didn't even see the line of my opponent drew. Oh, I didn't bottom Street Wraith. I'm a genius. I mean, it's worth a shot. I can only play one, so you're bottoming when the other one was just perfect. What now, opponent? Source the Plowshares. Almost assuredly, Shorge to Plowshares. My Wraith is going farming. Wait, what is this? Another Hull Breacher? Okay. Am I getting twisted? Is it twisties? Saga Gaming. Going farming. I think we're dead, by the way. For anyone keeping track at home. I was wondering why you rated me. This is a free challenge for you to win, Beerus. You just register Dredge and you go 9-0 and you win the challenge. Simple. Very simple, very easy. Just looking for a console to put one more throughout in the stack. Yeah, I mean, that guy's a boomer, so. All right, 3, 6, 8, 10. Doomsday, Necro. I'm over it. Let's go next. All right, so we're playing against the True Hero deck, which is a banger as always. This is Esper, Initiative, Tinker, Stuff, 5 Initiative creatures, Hull Breacher, Lavinia, a bunch of swords. Bring in negation. Just bring in negation. Wow, they have like very little cards for the matchup. Just 3 negations, no Flusterstorms. This looks like a great matchup. If my opponent does not immediately cast a turn 1 Tinker on me, I think this matchup looks very good for us. So, God, what do we even board out? They do have 2 wastelands, but I'm not sure that constitutes an island. I like the idea of fatal pushes. I mean, duress looks fine too. Negation. I mean, they only have Tinker, right? It's like their only spell that matters. So maybe it's just Fluster. Vamp, Daze, Necro. Something like that. Maybe this is too many pushes. They have 10 creatures. I mean, they're playing Hull Breachers. But we didn't bring in all the pushes against the... I mean, the other deck only had Hull Breachers. I'm going to try something like this. I could be convinced in a couple other choices as well. The other deck definitely had more negation targets, though. This deck does not seem like it has that many negation targets. Shh, Tinker. I can't believe they vamp for a Time Walk and not a vamp for a hop. It's crazy to me. Maybe first time on the deck, possibly. It is a nice, new, fresh copy pasta from the True Hero. Oh. I see. Okay, I try to win the game. This is a lethal one if my opponent has nothing. If my opponent has something, if they could wait until Oracle and I actually would just lose the game, but I assume they will just counter the Doomsday. So I guess we have the Dark Ritual, which kind of changes things. So maybe what we do is we play Lotus and we ponder off of our Lotus and try to find a good spell. And then we can find like one good spell if we want and crack and then go Dark Ritual Doomsday. And then we still have Preordain into 2 open blue mana into Ancestral. Then it doesn't even have to be Lotus. So we wouldn't actually even lose the game immediately. Pretty nice. So what can we find off of a ponder that would help us? Flusterstorm. Flusterstorm would be really good. Okay, I like this. Yeah, let's do it. Black Lotus. No? I mean, we're not Black Lotus? Oh, we are Black Lotus. Okay. Ponder. Force. Yeah, would I force through a Doomsday from this spot? It's like really bad into Wasteland. If I choose none of these cards or Street Wraith or a land or something, and I just let the Doomsday get countered, I'm not really in a good spot there either, so sure. Let's keep it. There are definitely, I mean, they're not playing 4 Wastelands, they're playing 2 Wastelands and 1 Strip Mine. They have Mental Misstep? That would be bad. That'd be extremely bad. The only card that like is really, I mean, the cards that are really good off that ponder would be Flusterstorm, Ancestral. Maybe like a follow-up cruise or something. My opponent has something. They're tanking like crazy on like everything. Okay, I'm gonna try it. This is gonna suck. This is gonna suck a lot. I will go down to 4 cards. If I cast Ancestral Recall, I would want my cards to be Black Lotus and then Oracle and like Fluster or something. But if I get Wastelanded, I need my second card to be a land. And then if I get Lavinia, then Lotus is dead. Okay, so but I have a Fatal Push. So Ancestral Land, Lotus Oracle, follow-up Oracle probably. Okay. That seems pretty reasonable. Last card, Oracle. Lotus. Or go back. No, not concede game. Go back. Last card, Oracle. Then Lotus. Then Oracle. Then land. And then finally on top, Ancestral. Yeah. Seems good. This gives me a lot of leeway. Plays against a lot of things pretty well. They have a Wasteland Hole Breacher? Okay, fair enough. Caught. Okay, fair enough. I go to 6. I play a land. I go to 3. I play a Lotus. I die. Well, actually, I can crack my Lotus and Fatal Push, but they have a Saga. Should I have made my land a fetch land? Interesting. I don't think so. Fatal Push being worse than Cut Down here. Oh, come on! I was beating this! Stop it! Wait, I might still be beating this. Makes it 3/3, makes it 2. Oh, I'm not beating this. That's so tilting. Because I actually can't... Damn. No, I mean, the Lotus Petal doesn't do anything here. They were fine with just this. So yeah, Fatal Push does not kill Hull Breacher with the Underground Sea. I mean, Fetchland really wouldn't have been better or anything there, so it's just... If Fatal Push was a Dismember instead... Damn. I mean, my hand was beating just Wasteland. It's just not beating Wasteland, Lotus, Hull Breacher. In fact, I might just like not really be beating Hull Breacher in general, Lotus Hull Breacher in general there. All right, whatever. I've been bested. Yeah. Wait, didn't I put a second land in this pile? No, I didn't put a second land in this pile. Oh no, the second Oracle beats if they have more counter-oriented draw. Is there even a pile I can build here that beats Wasteland Hullbreacher? All my things are pretty bad against Wasteland here, but they only have 2 Wastelands. I mean, Lotus Hullbreacher is so bad for me here. Yeah, but I can't do a demonic line when I get Wastelanded. Like, there's just like no way I'm doing a demonic line if I get Wastelanded. Like my first card always has to be Ancestral to give me the highest chance of winning the game. And then from there, I built my second card as a second land in case I got Wastelanded. I could still then go Ancestral or be able to Fatal Push Lavinia. I think I like my pile. I think I just got Lotus Hullbreacher Wastelanded. I could be wrong. There might be something slightly better, but you could say I not go all in on my Doomsday on the first place, but it seemed like a pretty reasonable option. Don't know. All right, round 4. Nope, round 5 now. We got another powerful wizard in the 1-4 bracket, though. Wiki is... oh, no. Wiki's only 2-2, but it's okay. We're going to take his money. We're actually see Wiki in a few weeks, in 4 seasons, in Italy. Probably Breach Gaming. This is actually not a turn 1 kill, so I'm liking the idea of Thoughtseize clear the way into a Doomsday. Oh, wait, I should definitely have fetched. Sorry, too much chatting. I forgot I was going to Doomsday this turn. Oh, if this is getting forced... Maybe wait? Why would our Thoughtseize get forced? I kind of like waiting now. I'm going to play Lotus Pass. I don't actually think, like, ripping into a pile here without knowing what's going on is going to be a good thing for us. Also, we get... I think we just wait. I guess that might play into Hullbreacher, though. So maybe that's worse. Is it actually going to be... I mean, Petal is usually going to be... Okay, it's going to be Breach. Ancestral? Sure. I mean, this was a lot more dangerous for us if we had Doomsdayed into the Ancestral that they had. So I'm not actually unhappy with how this sequence went. And a Soul Ring. So now we can get Hullbreachered as well. Not ideal. Not ideal. Force is good, though. This worked out pretty well for us. All things considered. Okay, I mean... I'm not saying what I did was correct, but it did work out well for us. Hullbreacher? Could we get Pyroblasted still? I definitely don't like firing off Black Lotus into the thing that happened. Or sorry, passing the turn into like a... What did they pitch here? A mystical, 2 cards left? I mean... How much do we have to respect Hullbreacher? 3 Hullbreachers in the deck? No, I'm just thinking about... If our Ponder gets Breachered... We have 5 cards in our deck. We can go Time Walk to 4 cards. No, I'm not. I'm forcing this. I'm just trying to figure out ahead of time. I'm like also thinking about like, is there a way which pitching Ponder benefits us more? Like, so think about it this way. If my opponent's card is Hull Breacher, if I Force of Will and pitch Ponder, then I can play Thassa's Oracle for turn, untap, draw a Thassa's Oracle, play another Thassa's Oracle, and then I have Devotion 4 and win the game. So it's actually it's one about the pile I want to make with Doomsday, and two, if I pitch this Ponder versus pitching the Oracle. Like normally here, 100% all the time you keep the Ponder because you can go Ponder into Gush into whatever win. But if we think my opponent has a Hull Breacher, it might make more sense to just go for double Oracle. Because if I Ponder into a Hull Breacher, like, am I gonna put an Ancestral on the first card of my library? Like how bad is it gonna go for me? You know. But like, is that too much respect? Like, 3 Hull Breachers. What goes badly? If my opponent has a Pyroblast, it goes very badly. 2 Pyroblast, 3 Hull Breacher. I think it's too respectful to go for a Thassa's Oracle into a Thassa's Oracle pile. I think that's too respectful. So I'm going to just go with the natural pile. And so the natural pile being Gush, Lotus Oracle, Ponder Gush, Lotus Oracle. I guess at this point, though, if they have a Pyroblast, we would lose. So maybe at that point we want to go Ancestral into Lotus Oracle Fluster, though they probably would just Pyroblast our Ponder, but this is maybe more in line. Tried. So I get Pyroblasted. I still untap with an Ancestral from 4 cards to 1 card, still getting Lotus, Oracle, and Flusterstorm. And then no rebound. No 5th card rebound. No, I don't think there's a hedge because there's no hedge that wins the game on the same turn unless I'm missing something. So if I go a Ponder and they have Hull Breacher, like I would have to give up my ability to win on this turn to hedge. And I don't think that's acceptable based on the way we pitched. I think we're just folding to Hull Breacher no matter what. Which maybe is not the way to look at the way to play this game out. I can totally accept that. Well, I mean, at this point, if they have a Hull Breacher, then it's just simply drawing Oracle the first point in which you can cast. Oh, I see what you're saying. You're saying that plays worse into Pyroblast, so there's some downside. Ancestral Lotus, DT Oracle. So you're giving up on Fluster by putting a DT in the pile, and then we'd have to be able to turn a DT mana into blue. So I don't actually think you can still win the game in that pile. But a Time Walk as a blue card is better. So if we were to go Ancestral, Lotus, Time Walk, and Oracle. That's better. And it will play better into Hull Breacher. So Time Walk makes more sense. And this is already better because we were losing our card anyways. Like our 5th card was dead no matter what. So in this case, if we go Ponder, Ancestral, Lotus, Time Walk, Flusterstorm. No, it still has to be Lotus, Time Walk. See, it's still going to be bad into... I mean, I guess they would Pyroblast the Ancestral or the Ponder, so we don't really need the Flusterstorm. So maybe it's just Ancestral, Lotus, Ancestral, Time Walk, Ancestral, Time Walk, Oracle, Lotus. So wait, doesn't this still make our 5th card irrelevant? But it does make us better against Hull Breacher. So Ancestral, Time Walk, Lotus, Oracle. Sorry, Ancestral, Time Walk, Oracle, Lotus. And then 5th card doesn't matter again. But this pile is better. Depending on like where they were Pyroblasting. I could put like a Daze as the 5th card to like make my opponent scared. But like a Daze or a Misstep both make my opponent scared. It's gotta be like it's gotta be some card that doesn't matter, but like has thought process. So I'm gonna go with this line. I think this line is basically my initial pile, except I have subbed out the Flusterstorm for the Time Walk, which helps me play better against Hull Breacher. Which I think makes sense. Mental Misstep. Mental Misstep. Black Lotus. Oracle. Time Walk, and Ancestral. I stopped reading chat at some point. But you had some good things going on there too. Looks like my opponent has nothing. Unless they're going... I mean, this pile is worse against Pyroblast as the last card. But the Mental Misstep should scare them off of Pyroblast as the last card, so... I guess I could Time Walk here. It's better just Time Walk here. It's just always better to Time Walk here. And then we go to our next turn with the Mental Misstep, and we beat Push and Pyro. Yeah, this is better. So that was better than Daze. So I think we actually might have made it into the best possible pile. Can we hedge against Hull Breacher if we rearrange winning a turn with a DT or something? No, not DT, but I think Time Walk does the DT job that you're looking for. Yeah, you're saying that's thing. Misstep. Why this 2 pushes? Yeah, exactly. I figured that one out on the go. Okay, yeah, I think we ended up on the right place. I think we ended up in the right place. There was definitely some things to consider there. It's good because my initial pile was not bad, and against a nothing, my initial pile does win. But against some things, my initial pile loses. So that was definitely a better pile that we built after that. So okay, I went Ancestral, Time Walk, Oracle, Lotus, Mental Misstep. That way, if I did get Hull Breachered, I could Time Walk as my second draw and then Oracle on the next turn after that. We probably still just lose if I get Hull Breachered, but it does give us some play against Hull Breacher. But still allows us to win on the same turn and allowed us to win through Fatal Push. If I get Hull Breachered, I'm 1 turn slower than your pile. Which one did you want to do? DT instead of Time Walk? Does DT let you win on the same turn, though, if they don't have Hull Breacher? I must be missing something with your DT line. I must be missing something. Breach. What did I bring in for Breach? I brought in Vamp Island, Duress, Push, Fluster, or maybe I brought in Trap and not Push. And then I played, I can't even remember, Days, and then you always have to draw Ancestral. Maybe I boarded out a bunch of I don't remember. I'm Chain. I feel like Chain is like more versatile than Push here. If I just like trim on Cruise instead, something like this. If you put a DT in the pile, your Ancestral draws you Black Lotus and DT. But how do you win with Oracle as the same turn? Oh, you wanted to go Gush. We had already played a land drop that turn, yeah? You wanted to go Gush, DT Lotus. Okay, I had already stopped thinking about Gush piles, so that's quite possible that there's a Gush pile with DT that does a similar thing. This hand looks good. At some point, I had evaluated Gush piles and decided that they were bad in comparison to Ancestral piles. I can't remember the exact reason why, but at some point I had just stopped evaluating Gush piles and started evaluating the best way to build an Ancestral pile. DT, it's fine with Thoughtseize here. Oh, you're talking about rearranging. Rearranging. That's pretty interesting. Yeah, there might be something there. Was not considering that kind of thing. This Thoughtseize has been fantastic, by the way. Just Naked Tinker. Doesn't that win on the same turn then? Because you're spending one turn off DTing and we're time walking and oracling. That sounds like the same thing as time walk then. All right, I'm going to focus on this game. Chat, you can figure out if there's a better pile there. I'll just take this Tinker. They just are left with like nothing if I do this. This Thoughtseize has been absolutely great today. I mean, the way you got to the pile was very creative with the ponder and stuff. It definitely wasn't. I mean, I wish I had thought of it or like had it in my thought process. So there's definitely value there. Maybe not in this exact spot, but maybe in some other spot in the future. I don't feel like I've done that very much. So this is a Dark Ritual. I mean, this has just got to be Dark Ritual Doomsday with Fluster Force backup. It just has to be. Just resolves? I don't know if I was expecting it to just resolve. I'm definitely passing the turn here, though. I'm definitely passing the turn here. So what do I want to do? Passing the turn here. Yes, they resolved DT and found a Tinker, and then I Thoughtseized their Tinker. And then they brainstormed. So I don't know their remaining hand anymore. I mean, I guess I could just... I still feel like I'm supposed to just wait here and then... But like, what is a good play on the next turn entail? I guess a good play on the next turn could be something like draw Lotus, DT Oracle, and then play an Oracle with Force Fluster. Well, we don't know their cards. I thought they would have Negation Plus. So I'm just like worried here. If I go for like a Gush kill, I do just straight up lose to Brain Freeze and maybe Breacher plus counter or something. And I feel like we want to. And so like my play here is something like pass the turn. On the next turn, play Black Lotus, DT for Oracle, and play Oracle with Force Fluster. And then the rest of the cards in my deck can be like Oracles and Time Walks and stuff. I don't know if that's actually better though. I don't know. There's something along those lines. I'm not going to take up too much time on it. I want to play this like I would play it at Eternal Weekend and just try to make a strong pile. I guess I could theoretically play a Thoughtseize as my first card too. And then maybe we can always ponder into Lotus, Oracle, Fluster if we see the way is clear. So maybe the play is like Thoughtseize, Lotus, Oracles, and like a Street Wraith that kind of puts the pile together. I mean, it kind of doesn't use our demonic, but maybe we don't have to use our demonic. I mean, we would use our demonic to get to. Oh wait, it doesn't work because if we Thoughtseize and then ponder and then get the Lotus, we can't actually get an Oracle in the same turn. Thoughtseize, ponder. Well, yeah. So maybe we just can't Thoughtseize. So maybe the play actually is something like Lotus. I was trying to do something that doesn't really draw cards, but maybe that's silly. But like if my opponent plays a Hull Breacher here, I could just not counter it. So I can go untap Demonic, Lotus, Oracle. I'm kind of lost now. I might just jam a pile like this and find out what happens. I don't know. I'm super lost now. I don't know. This is not the right pile. I'm just gonna make a play. What I wanted to do was this is something. Sorry, that's not the right pile, but I kind of just got lost in what I was trying to do, and I want to make a play and continue playing. So the goal of what I was trying to do was make a pile where I'm passing the turn. The reason I want to make a pile that I'm passing the turn is so I can hold up Flusterstorm for this turn, which would let me beat a Brain Freeze. Dealing 3 cards. Oh, did I put all the oracles in my top 3? No, I didn't, right? I didn't. That's good, yeah. So this way, if my opponent had brainstormed into a brain freeze, I can flusterstorm all the copies except for 1, mill my top 3, being Lotus, Oracle, Gush, drawing an Oracle and winning the game with Force backup. Also, by doing this, I don't run into a possible Hull Breacher plus Force issue. But maybe I'm just supposed to do that. But I wanted to try to play around Brain Freeze, maybe, was the biggest thing. And my opponent also, like, brainstormed back on top. So it's not like that was a huge concern. So I'm kind of trying to play in a way where I can have a Flusterstorm open. So this way, I go Lotus, DT, Oracle. So the Gush is really bad in my pile, right? Is this going to be a hard cast negation on the Lotus? Or is this going to be Brain Freeze now? I really wish I had done a better job of putting my other cards in this pile, but I just kind of short-circuited to... It's been a long day. But this lets me, like, the main first part of this, I think I really like, where I can pass the turn, play around Brain Freeze, go Lotus, Demonic, Oracle, play Oracle with Force Fluster backup. Now, does that actually even beat Brain Freeze on this turn? Maybe not. So this was Force pitching Force on my Lotus. And so now I'm just not beating Brain Freeze, right? Because if I counter it, 2 go through, Force 1, and then I don't have an Oracle on the bottom. So if I were to force this, I can still play Fluster back up on my thing, so let's force this. The fact that they have so much mana actually makes a lot of my Flusterstorm lines a little wonky. And then at the end of all of this, if it doesn't work out, I still have another Oracle. But I'm not beating Freeze anymore, though. So, like, that kind of makes my whole first part of this bad. Right? Because they just pay. So they had Freeze? Could I have changed the way I played this in any way to win this game? Yeah, I mean, they just have so much mana to pay for Flusterstorms, right? So, like, even if I do this, they still just pay for 2, and I go to 0. So even if I had Oracle as my last card, it doesn't even work. All right, so my plan did not work out. Now, we don't know if they had Freeze, but I would suspect because they knew the cards were brainstormed, they would have Freeze in their hand. So it might have actually even been they had Freeze and Force Blue card in their hand. That's absolutely possible that on the last turn that was the case. This is a spot where we'll go back and try to figure out if there is any piles that win through that. I mean, that was the absolute worst case scenario that we were trying to play around, where my opponent had blue card Force and Brain Freeze, the one of Brain Freeze. My opponent led the game off with DT Tinker and did not have the ability to brainstorm right away. And I thought seized on turn 1 and took the Tinker. That could have even been wrong too, for what it's worth. But Oh, that's a spot I'm gonna go back and look. But I do feel like that was the worst possible case scenario, and it was the thing we were trying to build a pile around. Whether or not I can build a pile around it, I'm not sure. I have 3 cards in my deck. I shouldn't have 3 cards in my deck. I'm 4, and then I DT. Did I like completely fuck up? Or I don't have enough cards? Did I have to put a Street Wraith in the pile or something? That's possible. We are kind of at that point in the night. I draw down to 4, and then I DT, and I take out a card. I have 3. Oh yeah, I might not have even taken off enough cards. That's kind of funny. I mean, I wouldn't lose if they had nothing, because I still have Ponder into a Oracle, but that was not the intention, so. Or I could have gone and Gush, but like again, like none of those were the intention, so. Oh, sorry. I mean, I tried to play around worst case scenario, but like I said, I don't know if there was a way to play around worst case. Was I supposed to keep that? What did I just DT? I mean, Oracle Console is definitely the safest thing against my opponent's deck, so maybe it's fine. Oh, nothing is safe. We're just dead. Well, we have some game here against a variety of things, so. I'm not going to cast anything into this Black Lotus. I kind of want to just draw. I mean, this Flusterstorm is not online. I kind of want to draw Force. Is this enough? 4 cards in hand. Oracle Consult. One, two, three, 5, 2, 3. Hard cast. I shouldn't have cracked. I should have left that open. This is getting worse for me, though. This Flusterstorm is just like infinitely offline. You think this just gets countered? Kind of hope it does. What if I just get Brain Freeze by casting this, though? I don't think this works either. I kind of wish I had just gone for it the turn that I fetched. I guess they can have double Breacher. I mean, the possibility of brainstorming is pretty nice. Well, I think the answer is actually never be casting Doomsday against the Brain Freeze deck, but they're only on 1 Brain Freeze. Like, it was really unlucky that they had the Brain Freeze, but we did try to beat it. All right, so here's a whole. Oh, it's Waterlogged Teachings. Shit. I can't do anything about this. They just get ancestral or something. I'm just dead, man. I should have just jammed. The first turn I should have just jammed. The first turn I should have the turn I cracked and thought about jamming, I should just jammed and hope it worked. Every turn after that this thing has gotten worse for me. The fact that I just can never cast this Brainstorm because my opponent had a Black Lotus on turn 1, and I just am so scared of Hull Breacher. I didn't bring in things for Hull Breacher, but I still don't think you're supposed to bring in things for Hull Breacher, but maybe that's a misevaluation. I do think I soul read the last round, but I just didn't build a real pile. Is there a real pile is the question. They got Ancestral Recall, which I'm just not remotely beating in any scenario here. It's another kill spell into Oracle. Time Walk. All right, I'm going to try to bait a Hull Breacher here with a Ponder. Didn't get Hull Breachered. I just really can't be casting Doomsday, right? Like, it's just not. I need Force. I don't think Dig is worth it either. Ancestral. All right, whatever, man. Oh, I should have just done it. Should have just done it. Oh, this is better. I need... So now if they have a Hull Breacher, I can Brainstorm in response with a fetch land and a Doomsday. Not bad. I played this game in this match fairly poorly, I would say. They responded with Ancestral. Whatever, sure. I guess this means I get Hull Breacher though, doesn't it? Oh, I get Pyroed. It's probably worse for me. All right, I'm gonna jam. I think I played this game extremely badly. Just did not picking the right timings for anything that I did. They have another Pyro. Just the existence of Brain Freeze is so tough. Oh, they're gonna pitch cast a Force because this is the last point they can pay for it. So actually, what I could do is I could consult now, lose my whole deck, and then fluster the Force and hope they don't have another counterspell. But they pitched a Force to Force, and they have Black Lotus. I still have a Doomsday. I'm over this game. I've kind of hit my limit tonight in terms of thought capacity, so this is probably just the last match of the stream. We'll review that one spot though at the end and see if there was a pile that could have worked. But I don't know. I'm running out of gas, obviously. Maybe they'll counter the demonic or something. I don't think this works for me. I think they have another piece of counter magic. Maybe their hand's all Hull Breachers. Who knows? I don't know. I don't like how I played this game, obviously. But I mean, if their hand was force, it's gonna be tough. Oh, I got negated? I feel like I just let this all go then. This is negation pitch brain freeze. Negation pitch brain freeze. They only have 2 cards left. I have a minute and a half to try to win this game. Good luck. Are we wheeling and dealing? Oh, we're underworld breaching. Okay, yeah, I don't think I'm beating that either. Okay. Yeah. I'm off it, chat. I'm off it. This doesn't technically win because they exiled the brain freeze, but it just lets them cast like 2 ancestrals, and I'm just off it. So my opponent had pitch. They must have had another piece of counter magic too, right? If they had force pitch force and force pitch brain freeze and had 5 mana. This game does not feel like it was super winnable. I do wish we had jammed on the first turn. Maybe we had a higher chance then, but I mean, they definitely had fluster red. For sure. Oh no, we're playing another round? Now we can't go back and watch. Okay, we were last place in the challenge, so we got to buy. We can take a look at this quick. We can quickly take a look at this spot here, which was probably the most interesting spot of the last round, where my brain exploded. So we're gonna go under the assumption that this brain freeze actually this brainstorm actually gave them brain freeze plus force blue card. Now that may or may not be true, and obviously you could always play your turn assuming that they didn't have that. But that was like the worst case scenario in a way that I was trying to build around. So the things I was trying to beat with my pile were 1, force of negation, 2, Hull Breacher, and 3, brain freeze. So obviously I could play directly into everything they have right now and not play around anything, and I can go and maybe I win if they don't have a brain freeze here. I actually probably, but like if they have Hull Breacher and force, I don't win, which is the other thing. So like they could have Hull Breacher plus force blue card or brain freeze plus force blue card. They could have Pyroblast plus force blue card. They could have nothing. There's a lot of different ways this could be. So let's think for a second, and then. So what I wanted to try to do was make some kind of play where I didn't draw cards and I kind of put not very many spells on the stack and had like the ability to flush from brain freeze. But the line I made didn't actually do that. So it might be just correct to not play around brain freeze at all and just play around 1 negation as the only card. And maybe have redundancy versus a Hull Breacher. I mean, they clearly let my Doomsday resolve and probably had negation. So, like, the read you want to make there is that they have something more than just negation. It's very unlikely my opponent brainstormed and left. I mean, I guess theoretically their hand could have no blue cards in it, and that's why they would like not have a negation. But I think the read here when my opponent lets a Doomsday resolve with a negation is they have a follow-up ability. And so if my opponent has negation Hull Breacher, and I go ponder into it like an ancestral pile, they go Hull Breacher, I force, they negate, and then I mean, I could still very easily win with a pile like in game 1, where the pile is Ancestral Time Walk, Oracle, Ancestral Time Walk, Oracle, Lotus, whatever we did in game 1. So that's not unreasonable. I kind of like that a lot, actually. Maybe just make a anti-Hull Breacher negation pile that also wins the game on this turn. So I kind of like that idea. Ancestral Time Walk, Oracle, Lotus, +1. Mental Misstep again, maybe. Don't know for sure. So there's that. If my opponent has Pyro and Negation... My opponent has Pyro and Negation. I don't think they would let Doomsday resolve, because you can win a counter war no matter what. I guess it kind of depends on what card they put back on top. I guess they technically wouldn't win the counter war no matter what, because we would force and they would Pyro and we would fluster all of the forces. And then we would Doomsday past the turn pile. So then the other read is if they have a brain freeze. And currently, if we pass the turn, we don't lose to a brain freeze because we counter the brain freeze, except for one copy. We let the one copy resolve, milling over whatever's in our top cards and making sure that a Thassa's Oracle is our 4th card. And then we untap and we play Oracle with Force backup. So if my opponent had gone for a brain freeze on this turn, the way we played, we did not lose. And it was actually good for that scenario. But our opponent was better than that, and they waited till the next turn, or they drew it off the top with the brainstorm that they put back. Kind of unlikely. So, I mean, you know, maybe props to our opponent for holding on to a brain freeze there. So, is there a pile that beats opponent holding on to a brain freeze with Force of Negation? So that was another pile that I was looking at, was a Thoughtseize pile. That was something I was discussing at the end, was being able to Thoughtseize the brain freeze. But I don't even think that works, because if I Thoughtseize, then they just cast Brain Freeze for 2 copies. Maybe that works. Or maybe they just like negate the Thoughtseize, and then if I pass the turn, they end up turn Brain Freeze for 2 copies and can pay for the flusters, and I would have to have Oracle as my last card. Yes, I don't think the Thoughtseize plan works, but it was something we were thinking about. Oh, I guess if my last cards are Oracle. Let's think that out again. So I pass the turn, I untap, and I cast Thoughtseize. I can no longer win the game on the same turn, but I'm trying to play around a possible brain freeze, right? That's what we're trying to play around. So my opponent either there's no way they let it resolve. They could just play double brain freeze, in which case we would let 1 copy of brain freeze resolve, milling Lotus, Street Wraith, Oracle, and then the other one we would counter with Force. They would counter back, and we would Flusterstorm back and win on the next turn. Okay. If they were to negate the Thoughtseize and we did nothing, we would pass the turn, and then they would have a triple brain freeze with 2 floating mana killing us. So as long as they negate the Thoughtseize, I don't think the Thoughtseize pile works. Yeah. The Thoughtseize pile is good against Hullbreacher. I think no matter what, we can build piles that beat Hullbreacher. I think the harder part is building a pile with Brain Freeze. Like, even simply playing the Ancestral Time Walk, Oracle Lotus Mental Misstep pile beats Hullbreacher from here. So I don't think Hullbreacher is actually something we're super concerned about beating. I mean, obviously our pile should be built with Hullbreacher in mind, but it's a card we're beating in every scenario if we build for it. The problem is I'm trying to think of a pile that beats the Hullbreacher and beats a possible Brain Freeze. And so Thoughtseize might beat a Brain Freeze if they don't negate the Brain Freeze. But if they negate the Brain Freeze, we automatically will always lose to the Brain Freeze. I think. Unless I'm missing something. Because it'll be Storm is 2, 3 copies, 2 floating mana. So you'll always be able to resolve 2 and kill me. Or they won't be able to resolve 2. So if they go for an end of turn Brain Freeze with 2 Storm is 3 copies, we Flusterstorm and counter 1 copy. They get 2 copies. We force the other copy, and then we can win with the Oracle as our last card with 1 resolving. So maybe it does just straight up beat. So what if they wait again, though? So what if they wait again? So they negate the Thoughtseize, and then they wait again, and there's 2 Storm. I mean, I feel like they would fire it off on 3 Storm. But if they waited, we would go to 3 cards. They would... I mean, they probably... So then we are drawing what? We were drawing Lotus. And we could DT, and then with the DT on the stack, they would fire off 2 copies, and we would lose. So we can't fire off the DT. So that wouldn't work. So we would have to pass again. And then draw our first... Oh no, we have a street. Yeah, then we would Oracle... So we would just have to be super patient and hope they don't have other follow-ups, right? Because we would have to Thoughtseize them, have it be negated. No. So, okay, so you're saying that on the second turn, instead, I just ponder? Because my ponder is drawing me street wraith. Well, but then they respond to the street wraith with a thing. I don't think that works. They respond to my street wraith. I think the street wraith actually is bad for us. Oh wait, you're saying we let 1 resolve. So on that turn we ponder, and if they put 2 copies on the stack, we get 1 resolve and we force the other, but then we don't have the mana to cast it. Oh no, we have Lotus. So then we go Lotus Oracle. Okay. So maybe all of the piles that involve Thoughtseize and then Patience are going to beat Brain Freeze. And I guess we don't know. So if we Thoughtseize our opponent and they negate it, we don't know if they have Hullbreacher or Brain Freeze. But are we actually losing to Hullbreacher? 8, 4, 6. Then we have Lotus DT Oracle, so we're not losing to Hullbreacher. So yeah, I think that might work. I think the pile of Thoughtseize, Lotus, Wraith, Oracle does actually beat Brain Freeze if we have enough patience, and depending on what our opponent does, obviously. Interesting. Okay. So at some point, I think I thought about Thoughtseize, and then on my brain went to mush, and I gave up. What did I end up with? Oh, I ended up with like trying to wait on Lotus, and it didn't. Okay, the pile I made was complete utter nonsense. Okay. But the idea of what I was trying to do is good. Honestly, the number one thing I'm getting from this is this Thoughtseize has been great. Yeah, I mean, I had like 8 minutes or something, and I was cooked. But this is good though. Obviously, another pile, but the thought process here is good. Because I think you have to have a read that opponent has negation plus something for them to let Doomsday resolve, right? I kind of had a soul read on the brain freeze, but I just didn't come up with the right way to beat it. So if I had let this resolve, can I win? End of turn free. No, because I didn't put an Oracle as my last card, right? I put an Oracle as my 4th card and my 2nd card or something. So I just, okay. Yeah, I mean, I hate the way I ended up playing that out was like pretty bad. So yeah, I mean, okay, so we know what we wanted from there. And then in this game, I kind of cruise controlled through this game, to be perfectly honest. At no point did I feel comfortable casting a cantrip into open Black Lotus. And then they had so much mana, but they only had 4 cards at this point. But I guess I can't actually be a pitch cast force, so it just doesn't really matter. So I have to wait until a better moment, and then by the time that I finally hit it, they had ancestral 5 forces or whatever. I'm not sure that I can win the game the way I played this game with opponent having an active Lotus on turn 1 representing Hull Breacher. Like maybe I have to play this game out like my opponent doesn't have Hull Breacher. That's possible, right? So I could have instead on this turn gone. Yeah, on this turn I could have gone Ponder. So I think if I had to go back on this game, if I was to play it out the same way, on this turn I should cast Ponder, because if my opponent goes with a Hull Breacher, then at least I have a Brainstorm and a fetch land, and I can get like max value out of my Brainstorm. And then actually, if my opponent goes Hull Breacher, it just sucks because I don't have 5 mana to go like Oracle Flusterstorm after that. But they have enough mana to go Oracle here off of this. I don't know. I should have picked a spot earlier, though, is what I'm thinking. So, anyways, as far as the testing went, we only played one matchup where we brought in Murktide Regent and we never saw it. The duress didn't come up, but the main deck Thoughtseize was fantastic. I do think the first discard spell has a lot of value, and I do believe strongly that Thoughtseize is better than duress because there's so many important creatures. The chain came up in a winning game. The chain came up in a winning game, or maybe I can't remember if we actually won that game or not, but I think it was a winning game with a chain. And the days basically just got boarded out every round. This days might just get cut, honestly. If there's something better than this days, maybe we cut something for the days. We got demolished though. Obviously tonight we did not win matches, but I do feel that these matchups were very hard. 2 Breach is a bad matchup. Dredge is good. Esper Lurrus is very bad, and then we lost to Esper Tinker, but they turn 1 tinkered us and a couple other things. We could have maybe mulliganed differently here. I do feel like we learned a lot. We had some good piles. Especially in the beginning of the stream, we had some really strong piles, and then at the end of the stream, we learned about some possible piles. So a good showing, no matter what. The life from the 2 life is relevant from Thoughtseize. It definitely is relevant. But I think hitting creatures is very important. So thanks for watching and hanging out. More vintage content like this on my YouTube channel every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I'll see you then.